and you come back.
Doing my best to live God's way kept me as close as I could
double
be to
back,
God's
y'all.
will for
Yeah.
my life.
It's just that sometimes it does seem like
good.
we're on opposing sides.
Yeah, it's weird.
I've been deceived so many times by like listening to certain artists and then find out that they believe in a
Bruce Lawn.
All right, I'm here with a new friend of mine, Kieran the Light.
Yes, sir. What's
I
up?
nailed it. I nailed your name.
Yeah, definitely.
All the way, originally from Louisiana,
Yeah, from Louisiana.
now based in Houston.
Houston, Texas.
And you made it out here to hang out with me.
Yes, I have.
I appreciate you, man. So what I find most intriguing about your journey is that it seemed like you kind of blew up in the Christian hip hop space
Yeah.
without any Christian hip hop affiliations, any relationships, no major real Rapzilla cosigns, like none of the typical stuff.
Nothing, man.
And I find that very refreshing and dope. Now, what's been your experience in terms of kind of being more viewed like an outsider coming into the space and crushing just strictly off social media?
Man, I'm gonna be honest, like many people haven't like really talked to me as much. I guess they still trying to figure out exactly what it is that I do, you know, because clearly it's for Christ, you know, it's Christian, but at the same time, it's not in the same exact lane as everyone. Like you said, I don't have a lot of the cosigns that a lot of people have, so many people aren't really getting the opportunity to, you know, see who I am, you know, actually like for what it is that I'm actually the purpose of what I'm doing is. So for me personally, it is about being an evangelist for Christ.
Sound
Making sure
check.
that's the main thing.
Yeah,
But,
buddy.
I believe your question was just what the experience is, man. I've been loving the experience, bro. I haven't really gotten a chance to affiliate with any of the biggest like people of the space, but at the same time, I'm still in a place where they're seeing who I am, you know, and I feel like, you know, God just he connects those bridges and he connects those dots whenever it's time.
Yeah. Is there a part of you that feels like maybe there should be more connection with the broader community? Like almost like not being slighted, but just kind of not being acknowledged.
Well, I'll be honest, like I have felt slighted, you know, for a while. But
Oh, I did
it's not
it
something that
again.
I took personal. I used to. Hold on. When I first began, I was like, why nobody reaching out to me? Like certain people
Stream.
mentioned it, and I was like, how come
That could be up.
But I still haven't gotten an answer to that. I haven't been searching for it, but I've been kind of like just coming
The headphones down. I don't need
about like maybe why
none of
it's
that.
you know, I do realize
The
that
stream.
I speak about
We could
Jesus
turn that
a lot,
up.
and I know that could definitely
And
play a
that should
part
be good.
the division when it comes down to how other people are affected by that name. Now, I'm not saying that a lot of these Christian pages may have an issue with that. I think it's just a controversy that may come from it, you know. And a lot of the things that I speak about as well, just how deep I go into my music and how real it gets, just when it comes down to my personal opinion of things. And I think a lot of that could be considered harsh or rude or you know just not really politically correct sometimes.
So you think it might just be a little, the content maybe a bit too jarring
Yeah.
for what kind of the status quo is right now in Christian rap?
Yeah, sometimes like sometimes it could come off like explicit Christian rap just about the cuss words. I guess just because I'm saying a lot of things that many people are like, he's not supposed to say that. You know, you shouldn't say that. Just because like regarding like witchcraft and different things that I speak about, it may come out judgy sometimes and whatnot. And I think a lot of people just don't want to get involved with, you know, whatever the backlash that may come from.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're relatively new to the space. Like, you really popped off on TikTok, you said, about 2020.
Yeah, 2020, bro. I didn't know what GHH was. I didn't even know there was like a Christian hip hop scene. I thought it was just gospel, and that was just what everybody the category was. If you were a rapper, if you were a singer, whatever you did, that's the category that was. Yeah, there was a whole space of just artists that did strictly Christian hip hop.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was like a subgenre of hip hop for Christians. So, yeah, like once I got into the space, I thought I was like the only person doing what it is that I'm doing. And then I started seeing like so many different people pop up, but it's new people that were popping up, you know, it's like different individuals that I was seeing come just out of the space as well, you know, like Caleb Gordon, you know, a lot of these guys, Chris Sincere. I see a lot of these like upcoming people that also like blew up on like TikTok and a lot of different areas that God, I feel like is using as new platforms and like kind of like almost a new age type of not Christianity, but rap. So yeah, I don't think it's the same exact category just because the way that we're delivering it.
I see what you're saying. So did you grow up listening to gospel music?
No, I didn't.
Nothing.
At all. See, I grew up going to church. I went to a Catholic church, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, at the time, like, as young as I was, I still didn't understand anything that I was learning. I just knew I had to go to church. It was like a discipline in my house. Like, we had to go to church because my parents went to church.
Okay.
And then eventually it got to a point where, eventually I had peers around me and the environment around me that influenced me. And I got into hip-hop. I was listening to, like, Wayne and Boosie and, like, you know, all of these guys that aren't Christian when it comes down to rap. And yeah, man, that was my influences just to cultivate, who I am as an artist today. And then it got to a point where I just got sick of myself, just my own sins, the different things I was falling into, everything I would touch, I would destroy just because of the immoral things that I was tapping into in my life. And when the Lord continued to reveal himself to me and show me that I had a way, I had an opportunity to come to him and still be accepted. I took that route and it swiftly just began to blow up. Like it wasn't even a wait, right? Like I started posting on TikTok, creating the music, and it just started going viral, man. And from there, it's been up. So yeah.
I got a ton of questions about your Catholic background.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued in that, and just your whole origin story. But I want to come back to that. So tell me, what was your first initial impression? You start doing Christian hip hop on TikTok. You're like, oh, like it's just me out here,
Right.
And then you slowly start discovering this entire
Yeah.
community
Yeah.
that isn't really embracing you. They're kind of looking at you side eyed a little bit, like, oh man, this dude's very explicit with the gospel, right? So what is your impression of Christian hip hop?
I feel like it's very watered down compared to what it is that I speak about in my music.
Okay.
I don't hear many artists speak about Christ very in depth as I do, or their relationship with him. That doesn't mean that I dislike them or anything, or I'm against them. That doesn't mean I wouldn't even work with them. It's just something that I noticed, whenever I would listen to a lot of the music that I would hear. And it's not like a specific person. It's most of the people that are in the space. I realized that. And I was just like, man, so I wonder, like, why isn't the conviction hitting me the way that I see all these other people being touched by the music that I'm putting out. And of course, everybody has their own, taste of what they like. Everybody has their own cup of tea. So I'm not saying that they're not good. It's just that I realize, and of course, everybody has their own, taste of how different my music is from the way that I just believe.
Okay, look.
And of course, everybody has their own, taste about how more than just, I'm not gonna say ourselves, but making it about rap. It seems like it's still about hip hop instead of actually trying to preach the gospel. And if that's not, what you're called to do, like, there's people that are called to do this strictly for making music, just for Christians to listen to and just for people to kind of like go to the gym, jam out, and that's fine. But I had to learn that. At first, I felt like everybody was wrong for not doing it the way I was doing it, because I was new to the space and everything, so I didn't understand everything. I was still new just on my walk and just learning how to be a Christian. So, I of course, like, I came in kind of like a little bit judgy because I felt like I was being judged in a way, and it just seemed like that's what we do here. Like, it's saying, oh, well, you're doing it this way, and you shouldn't do that, and everybody has their opinion of how you should do it. And I ended up learning that it's so much more than that. And the body is consisting of so many different areas, and we're all called to do different things in different ways. So I don't ever look down upon a person because they may not create the music the way that I create it. But I definitely think that there's a difference for sure.
Yeah, I think it's interesting in the way you've came into the space as a disruptor because of TikTok.
Yeah.
So my buddy Nick D has a good amount of success on TikTok and all that kind of stuff in the music. He came in through the Rapzilla arm initially, through the Christian rap arm, and then kind of pivoted to just more like kind of clean pop music.
Okay.
And one of the things he said recently, which is I think very difficult to do, but I feel like you do it a little bit, and I'm not sure if you're doing it intentionally. I feel like he talked about making music with the content in mind. So like making the music and then having the video, the short form, the marketing side in mind.
Yeah.
And I feel like the difference between you, Caleb, Chris Sincere, like you guys are making stuff with the visual in mind, whereas like the rest of Christian hip hop is still kind of like same old establishment music, circle gatekeeping a little bit, you know?
Right.
But you're coming in making stuff different. Would you say that's a part of your process? Are you thinking about how is this going to ultimately execute?
Yeah, and not only that, but the Lord kept me in a position where I had to depend on the resources that I had. So I always knew that the only way I was going to get this out is if I did it on my phone and posted it on TikTok or on Instagram. I didn't know anybody that was able to just come out and just shoot this high quality cinematic.
Come on, let's check this sound. Let's see what we sounding like.
I didn't know how to do that. So I only knew how to do that. And during the time of COVID, when that first made its way into the world, it was just an opening, for everybody, just because everybody was on lockdown, everyone was paying attention to their phones, and it was a time that TikTok was going crazy. Everyone was making the dances and everything, and from that, I just kind of learned like the algorithm of it, and I also learned what it was that people were attracted to, and I realized that the visual plays such a huge part because it got to a point where people didn't really even care about official music videos anymore.
Yep, you're 100% right.
You know, like I realized like, okay, I'm not saying that I don't need those because I mean, everybody wants to see it. It's a different feel. It's a whole different dynamic to the music. But whenever you're able to just have it right there in front of you and it's hitting you the same exact way it would hit you if you were listening to it surround sound in your car or something like that, you're like, who is this? Especially when I'm looking at you in your face and I'm talking to you, like, because most of my videos is like me walking and just rapping, I'm just spitting bars, and it almost seems like it's in conversation form, you know. And I realized that, hey, this is something I don't see anybody else doing. And I'm not saying like I'm the one that started it or anything. I just know, like I said, at the time that I began, I didn't see anyone else doing what it was that I was doing. Everybody just seemed like they had a lot more money and resources.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
Okay, hey, sound check. Yeah.
To the platform of short form and the timing of people moving away from music videos and people going into short form. And it sounds like you caught, because I discovered you around the same year, like 2020, and I was like, oh, this is dope. This creates a whole new way of people to build a career in music outside of the ministry component, just from a content strategy standpoint.
And gain exposure.
Exposure. That's what, that's ultimately
that was the main thing. Because, you know, there was a point of time when we didn't, like, social media wasn't popping as it is right now. So we still were dependent
Hey, sound check.
TV and radio and all those different things to tell us what to like. And now you have the opportunity to come across whoever, you know, is doing something. And, you know, I just decided to use that, you know, for something that could actually benefit others. And when I did it, it just started going crazy. And I learned that the more that I, you know, lifted his name in the music, the more popping it was.
Now, have you moved that over to like YouTube Shorts as well? Because I see you on Instagram, but what about YouTube Shorts?
No, so I'm on YouTube and I like download a lot of my music on YouTube, but I don't have the actual videos that I'm doing on like Instagram, TikTok. I don't have that on YouTube Shorts. I should do that. I know.
Absolutely. Because I think YouTube Shorts, they're about to start paying in January, so that's going to go crazy.
Is there like a limit on YouTube Shorts for like how long those are supposed to be?
60 seconds.
Okay, well, cool. Yeah, I definitely could do that then.
Now, again, when you're writing the record, are you like, oh, this 8 bars is going to go into the short? You're thinking like that?
I already know like exactly what parts of a song I'm about to shoot a video to or a clip to, because I already know the ones that are going to hit hard. I got to make sure that it has enough context for them to understand what I'm talking about. So that's the reason why I utilized the full 60 seconds like I did and try to fit as much as I could in it, just to make them want to like say, what song, where is this? You know, and I have it available for them. But yeah, I'll say something like I know it's about to be crazy. And it's not for that, you know, it's not for like the clout of it, but at the same time, I know it's...
I should, absolutely. Because I think YouTube Shorts, they're about to know it's about to be crazy. And it's not for that, you know, it's not for like the clout of it, but at the same time, I know it's... I should, absolutely. Because I think YouTube Shorts, they're about to know it's about to be crazy. And it's not for that, you know, it's not for like the clout of it.
So the way that I was able to do that was because every...
Wait. Sound check. We gonna talk a little bit. Sound check. Just try to see, man, what's really going on.
There's a lot of other people I'm seeing doing maybe like, you know...
We gonna talk a little bit. Sound check. Just try to see, man, what's really going on.
Everything you see from me on the platforms leads straight to my original content, the music on Spotify, Apple, everywhere else.
And would you say that's the main way you're monetizing right now? Is Spotify, Apple Music?
Yeah. Like once my stuff just started going viral and crazy because...
Okay, so that sounds good. I like that. Hopefully,
nah, man, just like
hopefully when I cut it on,
Okay, full album.
right now, and everything we sound like everything. Right now,
outside of everything else.
So do this gotta be down.
Just strictly from streams, and that's cool for somebody else to hear, just to know that that's possible. You know, just with the consistency that you put in, most definitely. And what led to that was the videos that I was on these platforms like TikTok.
It is an echo in there.
Now, since things have kind of popped off for you, have more.
So that is an echo right there.
From the CHH space reached out.
It's funny because like I don't know who's considered the CHH space.
Okay, respect.
But I've definitely had many people like reach out to me and want to work for sure. Like I said, when it comes down to just the distinguishing of like who's actually in CHH or not, I kind of like just got thrown in there because many people, if it's Christian, it's CHH. You know, so if it's Christian rap, they think it's CHH. I'm not saying that I'm not in that. I don't even really know what it is in full, but. Yeah, I have a lot of artists that reach out and they're like, "Yo, we got to do something. Or we got to do a record together." And the thing is, like, I just like to make sure that there's purpose behind it.
Sure.
You know, a lot of people that I work with, I have relationships with them. It don't have to be like me and them talking every day. We're not best friends, but at least I still know that they're standing on the same principles that I stand on.
Amen.
When it comes down to why we're creating the music and putting it out.
That's dope, man. In terms of where you see the fault lines in CHH, do you have any where you're like, or is it just mainly like, man, we need to preach about Jesus more? Why ain't you talking about Jesus? Like, is that kind of your main critique, would you say?
That's my main critique. Like I said, when I hear people, because I am like, usually when I listen to someone, I'm searching for that just because I've been deceived so many times by like listening to certain artists and then find out that they believe in a completely different God than what I'm talking about or something. So not saying that's in this space, just in general.
Sure.
You know, so I like to make sure that the people that I'm listening to or that I'm working with are actually worshiping Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And yeah, like I feel like that is definitely an issue. I just don't like to come off as if I'm out here just looking for like the smoke with people or something.
Sure.
You know, it's not like that at all.
Because the music do got like a battle rap component to it.
Yeah.
Like you like this punchline heavy. Like you ain't rapping Jesus. I am. Worshiping the great I am.
Man, I'm really trying to just motivate people, man, because many of the people that don't speak about Jesus, it's usually because they feel like they can't because of the reach that.
Alright, so I paused it, man. I'm trying to see what's there. I ain't got no headphones, so do this change anything? Paused it, man. I'm trying to see what's there. I ain't got no headphones, so do this change anything? Paused it, man. Gotta be careful with that's what it is. It's that sound. I don't think I need no headphones. I'll turn that down. It gotta be up all the way. That ain't even the headphones. I don't think I need no headphones though. That could be mute. This troubleshooting serious. This troubleshooting serious. Mute. This troubleshooting serious. This troubleshooting serious. Okay. So that's one of the key things.
That it won't get. So a lot of them still have that purity in their heart where it's like everybody, you know, they worship Jesus.
Yes.
They love Jesus.
Yes.
We just don't know that enough. And I like to show people that, you know, we could still have that same competitive spirit. You know, if you feel like you're the best in whatever, that's against yourself, whatever, just, you know, be confident within yourself. Speak that on the track. That's what I do. And I also like to challenge others to be able to come out and go just as hard as I'm going. Like I said, like I don't know any of these guys that it may seem like I'm coming at, because I'm not coming at a specific person. Sure. I'm just really just trying to encourage people to get up and do something positive and don't feel like they have to rap about something immoral in order for it to go crazy.
Amen. Well, I'll take you just I don't know how much, you know a little bit of Christian hip hop, like history and how we got here, or you just completely like, man, I don't know nothing.
I know it.
You good.
Okay, I know a little bit, man, but I mean, you could definitely like, you know, educate me a little bit more.
So I'm gonna give you the most condensed version I can give you. Okay, so there's kind of been two arms of Christian hip hop, right? There's been it's almost gonna sound like East Coast, West Coast, but it's not. But it is, but it's not. So like on the East Coast, you had the cross movements and the lamp modes. And those are the brothers. Are you familiar with any of those names?
Not at all.
Okay, so Cross Movement Records was a huge label, late 90s to the mid 2000s. And they were explicitly theological with their raps. Right. More than you. I'm talking like quoting Calvinistic theology, John Calvin, Jonathan Edwards, like Charles Spurgeon. Very punchline heavy, but very heady.
Yeah.
And they kind of dominated the scene initially. And on the West Coast, we had a collective called the Tunnel Rats. Now, the Tunnel Rats is more of like the lifestyle rap. They come out of the battle rap scene. They weren't trying to be Christian rappers. It was just kind of what they fell into. Right. And so for the Tunnel Rats arm, you had LA Symphony, Pigeon John, Propaganda, Future Shock. I kind of come out of that side of things.
Proximity-wise on the West Coast, that's where I got mentored. When I got saved, when I really surrendered my life to Jesus, I read from Tunnel Rat / Future Shock and Brady from the Cross Movement the same week. Like, it was crazy the way that happened. Right. So long story short, the Tunnel Rats never really blossomed. They were just kind of more underground, and the Cross Movement guys got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then they ended up signing Lecrae. And so Lecrae really exploded with Real Talk, and then Rebel came out in 2007. And so this is many would call like the golden era of Christian hip hop. So Cross Movement's booming, The Truth is booming, Lecrae is booming, Reach Records is starting to become a thing, Triple E, and all of it at that point is explicitly bar heavy, preachy Jesus. Every song, Lord kill me if I don't preach the gospel.
Right.
Still in my 20s, but I'll die if I have to. This is Lecrae in 2007 on Rebel. What happened was, some of the brothers went so hard to the theological extreme, and bridges started being built, guys like Propaganda, guys like myself. And then as some of the brothers from Cross Movement stopped doing music, some of them had kind of some moral failures. We don't got to talk about those. I could tell you offline what they were. There's some things that happened lifestyle-wise. So what happened was it went straight explicit Jesus to mainly Lecrae being the main figurehead, kind of slowly pivoting, and then it shifted to the opposite extreme, right, where we don't really ever talk about Jesus. It was just lifestyle music, and so it strung from one extreme. Back in the day, bro, like if they didn't know that you were a Calvinist, like they were like looking at you sus. Like, I'm being straight up. Like, are you listening to Paul Washer and John Piper? And if you weren't taken seriously. And that's like when I came around. And then, so it went from that extreme, brothers kind of fell. It was very like presuppositional. Guys are going to like seminaries. And then, bro, it just yo-yoed the complete opposite extreme. Right. And that's kind of what you're seeing, the remnants of that. And that hasn't been good either. There's been dudes living worldly, not following Jesus to the, with all their intensity. And the music has kind of allowed this, I don't like to use carnality, but like it's definitely hasn't been the most optimal with this stuff we tolerate. And so now we're on the opposite extreme. And I feel like with guys like you, Caleb Gordon, we're slowly starting to shift to just, I think, a good balance of, man, we need the lifestyle stuff. We need the gym music. We need that. But we also need to be explicit about what we about and who we believe.
Yeah, because somebody has to do it, man. Yeah. And what you just said makes so much sense, because even when you were explaining like the people that were going hardcore for it, I still don't believe that works without the sauce that God is now allowing us to put on. Just because of the times and the eras, everything just changing. And also just because of the fact that there's a lot of people that don't receive that way. So for me personally, I think we had to come into the space. I'm not going to say we, well, me. So for me personally,
I'm gonna say this, bro. Like, bro just shot a lot, but, bro, I personally been doing gospel music, Christian rap for, and they didn't even talk about the gospel gangsters. They start off with Lecrae. Like, bro, that was. You see how people try to spin a narrative on things? Like, bro, like. That's funny, but bless them, Lord.
Personally, I had to come into the space not really knowing the history of that stuff, because the history of that probably would have still affected the way that I deliver my message. Sure. I literally was in secular music. Like, that's all I was looking at. Just studying the styles, the flows, the cadences, deliveries, it's sonically how everything sounded. And I was trying to find a way to transition that into what it is that I'm doing now, but to glorify Christ. Amen. And when I came in, it seemed like there was like so many different rules of what you can and can't do, I guess, to be accepted by that particular community. See, I came in first thinking that we were all the same. Like, we love God and I'm saved, and that's what everybody was like, oh yeah, you know Lecrae, Lecrae, you should sound Lecrae, this and that. And because he was like really the only Christian artist I really knew like that, just because in school, when I was in high school, like people listened to Lecrae. Anybody that was like the Christian side gospel, they were listening to that. So that's what I knew about, but I didn't truly know his music. And now it's at a point where I'm not sure like what it was that Lecrae.
Careful what you do because the reaper.
Hearing like a lot of the things what you were saying, like the criticism. I don't really know him or anything about him like that, but I know what it is that the Lord's calling me to do,
Amen.
and the way that He's calling me to do it has to go without influence from anybody that was before me.
That's
Otherwise,
good.
it's going to change the way that I'm saying everything.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think, yeah, you're right. Sometimes knowing too much can taint things, and what you just described is what I experienced, like coming in the scene, 07.
Get in here and come on, holler at us, bro.
Same kind of like. So you're talking about like folks being like, wait a minute, like, were you a little too preachy? To us, it was like, y'all ain't preachy enough. Tell me the 5 points of Calvinism now. You know what I mean? Like it was like that energy. So it's interesting how much.
Get in here and come on, holler at us, bro. Yeah, hey, it's live.
Actual Christians are claiming to be that were the ones becoming offended. They were like, oh no, that's not all correcting me and all that stuff. I'm like, dang, like I thought at least I'm trying to do at least something that's completely different from what's leading us to the darkness.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? So
Amen.
I felt like we were all together, but then I began to realize that, you know, it's a lot of cliques, it's a lot of different like, you know, teams and stuff. And that's cool to have your people and your fam and everything. Like we all have that. It's just that sometimes it does seem like we're on opposing sides.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. You're right.
It
It is weird. And that's my hope even with today. Like I told you, John Keith is going to come up, you know what I'm saying, hang out. Caleb's here. My heart is like to bridge some of these gaps because I think brothers can, one, just have relationship is always good. And then two, I point to you, Caleb, Nick D, even though Nick D's not like a Christian rapper, as the model. Like I think like you're frustrated, you know, a lot of Christian rappers is frustrated by the Christian rap community, which is the CHH space is smaller, like than the Christian TikTok space of where you've been able to be disruptive. So they get frustrated. I'm like, well, stop worrying about these same 100,000 Rapzilla fans and go build something on TikTok. You know, and I'll point to you, I'll point to Caleb. Kind of pivot gears a little bit before I want to hear more of your story. What do you make of Ye and what he's kind of attempted to do within kind of Christian and not Christian and like some of the outbursts that we've seen online? Like, what do you make of all that?
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
And whenever I feel confused, I try to like keep away. When I feel confused, just because like, you know, sometimes he'll, and once like, I don't know him at all, so I'm not trying to say anything, you know, bad about him. Just sometimes he'll say something, I'm like, yeah, like that's right. And then say something else, and I'm like,
that ain't it, Chief.
yeah, I don't know this guy anymore. But it'll feel like that. So like when it comes down to what he's doing, I mean, I think anything that carries the name Jesus, you know, like I saw he put out Jesus is King at the time. I remember when he did that, I was like, yo, he literally put out an album that says Jesus on it, and all of these platforms, labels who are promoting it have to say Jesus is King in order to promote it. So I was like, okay, you know, like this is, regardless of what anyone may think of him, this is something that the Lord is allowing and he's using. And I think a lot of people get that confused. I believe that Kanye is still being used. We could have our personal opinions of what his agenda is, his personal reasons for what he's doing, but I don't really look at that. I don't really know him or care about the person. I don't even believe the flesh matters. It's really the spirit. And I believe that God is using everything that's going on, even the things that we may seem foolish, even the things that we may not like. So for me, the fact that he's talking about God matters, and I think that that's still going to open the door for many people who are listening to him, whether they think he's deceiving or not, to still turn to more things that sound like that. So
yeah, and what you mean by allow me to interject, you're not saying that God is inspiring everything he's saying. You're saying God is using these things, even the things that are like way out of
clarify that. Like I'm not saying that God told him to say the things he's saying. Like I think at one point I believe Kanye said something about like he was like being a spokesperson kind of like for God, or God was using him. I don't believe like anything like that. I'm just saying that the things that he's that he's allowing Ye to do and say and expose, quote unquote, God is still using that for our good, because all of those things are going to work together regardless.
Amen.
And I think that as long as God's name is in the mix, it's still going to plant a seed for somebody.
Yeah.
Even if he's not doing it the way that he should. Now, I'm not saying like we should take like, you know, his leadership as something that we should just follow onto this righteous path of everything. But I believe that just from a music perspective, I believe that it's good that he's incorporating that into it.
Yeah, it reminds me of the passage in Philippians. And just to be clear, I'm with you. I think Ye said some outlandish, off-the-wall stuff.
Yeah.
Specifically, some of the anti-Semitic stuff. But I think of the passage in Philippians where Paul says, you know, some preach with false motives, some preach with ill intent, but like I'm happy that at least the gospel was being preached.
Right.
You know, and and so I'm kind of hearing you say that. I think of that verse. I think of the verse where the apostles come and they say, hey, these other guys are casting out demons in your name, Jesus. And Jesus is like, look, whoever is not against us is for us. You know?
Because I feel like many people that are in Christianity are, you know, born again and believers, they're going to look at what he's doing, and of course they're going to say that's wrong. Because, you know, we are filled with the Spirit, and we have discernment, and we know, you know, what to believe and what not to. But for somebody who's just out in the world who don't know anything, which was me at a particular time, if I see, because when he came out with the Jesus King album, I wasn't
were you
even
following?
saved.
Okay, you weren't following Jesus.
Right. I was trying. I thought I was. You know, I was believing in God and thinking I was going to go to heaven tomorrow just because I thought I was a good person. But I wasn't actually carrying like the principles that were standing on the foundation of, you know, the Bible. So at least all of them, I was like kind of lukewarm in and out of what I thought, you know, my own rules of that were. So when it comes down to him, like when he put that out, that definitely made me more conscious of, I'm not going to say who Jesus was, but it made me want to find out. Because he was an influence. So seeing him do that, it made me care more about God, which is sad to say, but at the same time, that's just how lost I was. And I know that's how lost many people are. And just because somebody may not be doing it what we may call the right way, doesn't mean that it's more than what the lost person is doing.
Amen.
You know, them witnessing that could truly be something that could also plant a seed for them to do something.
Yeah, and you said it's a testament to how lost you were. I would say it's a testament of how powerful influence is now. You know, if someone is highly influential and they're saying the name of Jesus, even if it's based in all kinds of other stuff that's just contrary to that, it still could have an impact to draw somebody to some degree of curiosity, which it seems like
because somebody could say something negative about Jesus, but you don't know what God may have revealed to them before they saw that, which could be confirmation to something positive about Jesus. Like anything that we see could be some way that God is speaking to us. So that's the reason why I'm saying the fact that he's just kept the name alive, regardless of what he's doing. Now, at some point, we have to eventually get out of the place of, I guess, ignorance and start looking at facts of what the Bible says and what the Word of God is. But I'm just talking about for people just to be drawn in, you know, just to find out some sort of news at all about the good news.
Yeah. What is your impression of like Maverick City music and everything they got going?
I haven't listened to anything.
You haven't listened to any Maverick?
No, I know who they are.
Okay.
But I haven't been involved in that. I'll be honest with you, it's not anything like specific that I'm